January is a perfect time to set your intentions for the next 12 months and hit the restart button on your life.
And our favorite way to do that is with a 30-day raw food detox. Though it may sound tough, on this episode, one Chicago restaurateur makes a case for quarterly detoxing. And I'm going to make it easy for you with a simple but delicious detox juice that'll kickstart your healthy new year.
And for those of you thinking about going vegan this year, you may be wondering whether you can get enough protein on a plant-based diet. Well, Howard Jacobson, the contributing author of Protein-aholic, is here to debunk some of the most common protein myths.
And get ready to hit the slopes. It's ski season. So we're taking you on a snowy getaway to one of the top eco ski resorts in Utah. All this and more coming up on Conscious Living.
For nearly 30 years, Karyn Calabrese has been on the leading edge of the holistic health movement. Through her 4 vegan restaurants, Inner Beauty Healing Center, nutritional supplements, and bi-monthly detox classes, this wellness pioneer is changing people's lives for the better. Her book, Soak Your Nuts, offers insight into her philosophy on the power of detoxing and the raw food diet.
The book really helps people to do the entire detox class without being here in Chicago with me. So I developed this method of cleaning out and giving my body a rest. And it's a combination of many therapies and what I've learned on my own. My class that I teach, the one that I've developed, is 30 little days out of 365 days of the year. And if you take this short period of time, you can go back to your caffeine and your alcohol and all the things that you feel make you comfortable. The good news is they may not all make you feel so comfortable anymore. I'm not a very scientific person, so I don't have the science background to give you. What I have is being 64 years old and not knowing what illness is, not knowing what tiredness is, not knowing what Botox surgery. So my particular detox that I lead people through kind of opens it up, opens the way for you to remember what's right for you. But I want people to feel that it's supposed to be a joyful journey. I want people to smile. I want people to laugh. When you learn to eat whole foods, foods that feed your body directly for real, it takes a lot less to fill you up. Each week that you change, you do something different, you start to feel better. I take certain foods away. I suggest that people go vegan, either raw vegan or cooked vegan. And we start out a week at a time. We take some supplements to help break down the mucus in your system, and we balance blood sugar levels, and we balance protein levels, and we start to shrink the stomach, and we get rid of cravings with some of the product that you're doing. Most of the decisions that you're thinking and making about detoxing are coming from a toxic body. We're breaking down those layers of toxicity that you've built up over a lifetime. You don't go from A to Z overnight, and that's what you have to remember more than anything. This is not a single one-time journey. As long as you're alive, you need to detox and cleanse.
I've been detoxing with Karyn, at Karyn's, and with Karyn for, I'd say, maybe 10, 11 years now. If you're going through a certain stage with women, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, I, again, think that this is one of the best things you can do. I'm at that age, and I've not had really any problem whatsoever.
Here at Karyn's, we have a wellness center, and we have colon therapy. All disease really starts in the colon in my world. This is where everything starts, and you can walk around with anywhere from 6 to 30 pounds of fecal matter in your body. We also have lymph drainage treatments. We have a machine that does that. The lymph is the garbage dump of the body. It collects all the garbage, and it gets gel-like, and it hardens. So we have a couple of therapies that kind of start to liquidate it and move it through the system. We have infrared sauna, which is great for stress and pulling chemical toxicity out of the body. People come with a whole array of challenges, and at the end of class, everybody got results. I had women with fibroids, either they become reduced or they're gone. I've had people report to me that having constant headaches, they're gone. Eczema goes away. I had an 87-year-old guy, they were ready to amputate his toe from diabetes. It healed in 1 month.
Well, I'll tell you my first presentation with Karyn, my wife was sitting next to me, and my wife watches her walk down the aisle and she says, wow, she's hot. You know, and my wife just points around, she's like, that's how I want to look at that age. And so she's just an inspiration. She's just a real person and genuine and no BS about it. She just tells it like it is, and she's amazing. I always say that our bodies are our temples. You know, if you train the body and you take care of the body, the mind will follow.
The best detox experience or aspect of it is the fasting. Because people think, oh, you have to eat every day. No, you don't. Or you have to sleep every day. No, you don't. You need oxygen and water every day. So fasting was euphoric, and you have energy, and you realize how much your digestive system is spending doing all kinds of things. So that's a really good aspect, because you feel very good, and you can't believe you don't feel hungry.
I truly believe that there are many roads to the top of the mountain. It's finding something that resonates with you and works within your heart. And remembering that if you don't take care of this, the most important machine you'll ever be given, where are you going to live?
Like Karyn said, you've only got one body, and regular detoxing through juicing is one of the best ways to take care of it. It helps give your digestive system a break and fast tracks the body's natural detox processes, while giving it the nutrition it needs to actually function optimally. So today I'm showing you how to make our favorite detox juice with simple, fresh ingredients that's super easy to make. And all you need is a good juicer. Now this is a great juicer. It's from Omega. It's a low-speed juicer which keeps the juice raw and the enzymes fresh. A lot of juicers end up cooking it because they operate at such a high speed. They actually cook the juice, and it sort of defeats the purpose. So let's get started. So there's only 3 ingredients for this, which is beautiful, right? It's super simple. We have beets, which is going to be a blood cleanser. Terrific nutritional products, is great for detoxing. We have apple, which keeps it sweet. Apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? And then the last thing is ginger. And ginger kickstarts your metabolism. It's great, especially in the winter time if you're getting a little snuffles or a little cold. It's an awesome way to, to get the body and sort of cleanse the body. It gives it that really nice kick that in the back of your throat that we love. So let's get started. So we're just going to start juicing. We have the low-speed juicer. It's going to take a little bit longer. So you may want to look at about 4 cups of apples. I'm not going to do all of them right now, but we just get it started, okay? And you can drop in the core and all, okay? All of that is good food. All of that is good juice. You get the fiber from all those great enzymes from the seeds, the power of creativity, the power of life itself. It happens in seeds and apple seeds. Johnny would be happy, okay? And this is going to give our juice the sweetness. And look, if it doesn't taste good, you're not gonna necessarily do anything with it. So it's got to taste good, okay? Now I've got 2 types of beets here, okay? I've got some, I think these are gold beets, and then I've got some red beets, and I've got the beet greens as well. I'm going to start dropping the beets in. And again, fiber, you don't have to worry about getting the skin off. The skin, there's such great nutrition in the skin. And see, if you've ever used other juicers, it's like they operate at such a high speed, you can't hear yourself think. I love this. It's super mellow. Takes a few more minutes, but it's almost meditative, okay? Almost keeps you just calm and cool. Now we're introducing that beautiful red beet juice to our blend. Okay. And then I'm going to add some ginger. Okay, I've got about 2 inches of ginger. Some people may want a little bit more, some people may want a little bit less, but just drop the whole thing in. Again, skin and all, that's all good nutrition. Okay, when you're juicing, you're giving your body a break. Okay, you're taking all, so it doesn't have to do the job of digesting the fiber, and it's just getting that concentrated nutrition. Okay, so we try to do once a week, we try to do a juice detox, and then during our 30-day raw food detox, like you heard Karyn talk about, we do a 3-day juice fast, and by the 3rd day, you're thinking smarter, you're sharper, and you're just not that hungry. First day, I might be a little punchy, but after that, it's all smooth sailing. Okay? Now, you could drop some of those greens in as well. I'm not going to do it for this particular juice. I'll do it when I make a green juice, but you know, that's about it. So I think we've got what we need. We've got our apples, we've got our gingers, we've got our beets, so let's turn off our juicer. Got that beautiful color. So good. And for those of you who still think you need meat to get your protein, health expert Howard Jacobson, Ph.D., is in studio to debunk the protein myth. Stay with us.
Well, the new year is a great time to adopt a healthier, more plant-based diet. But when you talk about going vegan, most people are worried about not getting enough protein. But according to health expert and researcher Howard Jacobson, the contributing author of Protein-aholic, we don't need nearly as much protein as we think that we do. In fact, our addiction to protein could be killing us. Whoa. Howard, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
How is our addiction to protein killing us?
Right. Well, it turns out that when we talk about protein, most people think about animal protein, right? That's the good stuff. And animal protein turns out to be toxic to us in a whole bunch of different ways, which we go over in the book. But you know, everyone's heard about low carb versus low fat. So we all know that one of those is bad for us. Nobody's sure which one, but if those two are bad for us, then the one that gets a pass is protein. And so everyone, in studies and in surveys, Americans keep saying we want to eat more protein. I mean, you see protein shakes, you see everything is now extra protein. If you go to the store, protein is being screamed at us, so we all think we need more and more and more. And in fact, getting more than our minimum requirement is actually harmful.
Wow. So what are some of the harmful effects, and maybe show us some examples of what this sort of addiction to the idea of protein is doing to our bodies?
Sure. Yeah. So some of the harmful effects is that in study after study, animal protein has been shown to be correlated to diabetes, obesity, heart disease, hypertension, cancer, and shortened life.
Wow, all bad things. There's nothing good there.
No, there's nothing good there.
Yeah.
In terms of the addiction, so the author of Protein-aholic, Dr. Garth Davis, a bariatric surgeon out of Houston, when he discovered a plant-based diet, he turned his own health around, he turned his life around, and of course he wanted to share this with his patients.
Wow, that's great.
And he found that every time he would tell them, have some fruit, have some vegetables, they'd come back in with their food journals, and he couldn't find a single plant.
Wow.
And he'd say, well, how come you didn't have how come you didn't have an apple? And he says, well, I wanted to get my protein, so I had beef jerky instead.
That just sounds insane, right? I mean, beef jerky instead of an apple because you're obsessed about protein. So how much protein does the average person actually need?
Right. So there's a lot of debate about this, but let's go on the fairly conservative side and say, well, let's err on the side of maybe a little bit too much. So the U.S. government says the average recommended daily allowance for protein is 56 grams for men, 46 grams for women. It changes if you're pregnant or lactating. It changes depending on physical activity, but those are sort of baselines. So there's a couple of, I brought some props today. So the question I wanted to ask is it possible to get enough calories without getting enough protein? Like, we're so worried about it. How worried should we be? So I started with a sort of a paleo meal. Let's say 2 eggs, 3 strips of bacon, and half a cup of milk in your coffee in the morning, a hamburger with cheese for lunch, and a 6-ounce salmon fillet for dinner.
Wow, that's a lot of meat.
So, but that's what people eat, and especially people have meat 3 times a day, and paleo. And let's say we're not eating anything else. We throw away the bun, we throw away the fixings. That meal is that day is 130 grams of protein, which is more than double what any man would need. It's almost triple a woman's requirements. And that's before you add anything else in. And by the way, that meal has 0 fiber and almost 0 antioxidants, which are 2 nutrients that Americans are definitely missing out on. So we're so focused on getting enough protein that we do it at the risk of real deficiencies. There's no protein deficiency in America, but there is fiber deficiencies and antioxidant deficiencies.
So let's walk through some of the examples here to see how much protein is in kind of what looks like a little bit of a junk food meal. We've got chips here, little candies, looks like some frozen dinner. And then over here we have a nice vegan alternative. So tell us, what's the difference in protein between those two?
None. In fact, they have exactly the same amount of protein. So I went to the supermarket. It took me a while to kind of figure out what to get. But I wanted to get like a really, really junky day's worth of food.
All processed, I see here.
Processed
from
stuff,
a package.
and you know, cookies and potato chips and a
Hot Pocket.
Hot Pocket and a Hunger Man meal and all this, you know, with waffles on the bottom. Like I wanted to find stuff that there was nobody out there who was going to say this is healthy. Like everyone agrees. So this day has about 2,300 calories, which is quite a lot.
How much protein?
65 grams of protein.
Okay.
And it actually has more fiber. It has 14 grams of fiber, which is terrible, but certainly better than 0. And it has about 6 on the antioxidant scale.
Okay. So comparatively, what do we have in terms of protein and nutrition with this meal?
So what I wanted to do is create a meal that looked like it had almost no protein in it, because that's the assumption that if if it's not meat or maybe tofu or something like specifically protein food, then it can't have.
Yeah, you've got oatmeal here, berries, fruit, pasta, salad. I mean,
yeah. And for lunch, you know, stopped at Chipotle's because you know even vegans got to do what they got to do.
That's right. So how much protein?
So this has 64 grams of protein.
So the same.
Yeah, this is 65, 64, and you know we're fudging things. I don't know the exact
and
weight
fewer,
of everything.
Probably fat, trans fats, and you know all the junky stuff. So you're getting the protein. It's just about thinking differently about the food that we're eating, which is what your book is all about.
That's right. Yeah. So if you know, and when we compare the other stuff, so remember 0 fiber for the paleo, 14 here. This has 67 grams of fiber.
Okay.
And it has about 26 on the antioxidant scale.
Okay.
So
it's healthier.
It's much healthier. It's got all the good stuff.
Cool.
And it's got enough protein.
Perfect.
So, you know, what I tell people is like you can't be protein deficient if you're eating sufficient calories.
Yeah. If you're just eating, pretty much you're getting protein. So thank you, Howard, so much for just showing us very tangibly the way that we eat is not necessarily what mainstream media is telling us. It's like you need protein, or you know what even doctors are telling us. It's time to start rethinking, and these are really great examples. And it's a great way to think about going vegan. You can't go wrong, and you're not going to lose out on the protein. So thank you for being here, and this book, awesome, so much great information. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Well, you want to know another way to stay healthy this winter? Get outside and hit the slopes. Up next, we're heading to Park City, Utah to do some shredding on fresh powder at one of the top snowboarding resorts in the U.S. Don't go away. Our first stop was the Canyons Resort for some serious snowboarding.
Not only is it one of the best places to snowboard and ski in the country, it's also one of the most environmentally friendly resorts on the planet.
Whether you're a seasoned skier or just a beginner, the Canyons is an ideal getaway for adventure travelers. With over 4,000 acres of skiable terrain and large slopes summiting at nearly 10,000 feet, Canyons is the largest single ski and snowboard resort in Utah and one of the 5 largest in the United States. In addition to using energy-efficient snow machines, one of the most innovative features of the resort is the Orange Bubble Express, a ski lift with enclosed, heated seats that get you up the mountain warmer and faster than ever. To learn more about what makes the Canyons an environmentally friendly resort, we met up with its sustainability manager, Dana Edwards, who invited us into the heart of Resort Village for a bite at their award-winning farm-to-table restaurant.
My name is Dana Edwards, and I am the Resort Sustainability Manager here at Canyons Resort in Park City, Utah. We need to be responsible for what we do as a company. We're one of the largest consumers of power here in Utah and Summit County. As a resort, we use a lot of the natural resources here. We obviously depend upon the snow, we depend upon the weather, and we need to be responsible for being a sustainable partner within this community. And that means being a sustainable employer, having a sustainable economy, being a sustainable resort in terms of utilizing our resources. So I'm responsible to make sure that our company follows the guidelines that are set not only by the EPA, by the National Skiers Association, but also to be an educational partner to our employees and to our guests. Our big push this year is on mountain recycling, which it's incredibly challenging to move all of the waste that's here on the resort. So we really made a big push this year to say, you know, we need to be responsible for the waste that we use. We want to know from where it's coming from and where it's going. So we like to know where the forks, the spoons, the cups, the plates all go from the mountain and down. And then same here in the base village. We're a large consumer of electricity, so one of the big impacts that we can have within the state is to look at how we use our electricity. So we look at things like our snowmaking, and you skied around today and you see that we have a lot of snowmaking on the resort, which consumes a lot of power. And we have to pump a lot of water, much water onto the hill. And when we excavated for the pond, we ended up utilizing every piece of stone, trees, soil, reused it back onto the mountain. We are also part of the National Skiers Association Climate Challenge. We're one of 8 resorts in the country that is taking on the challenge of reducing our carbon footprint by looking at our power usage, looking at our water usage, looking at how many vehicles we have, how much trash we move, looking at the whole picture and seeing how can we tick off little things here and there to make a big impact. Less carbon footprint, less impact on the community. We have less impact on the landfills, so 5 to 10, maybe 20 to 30% less garbage is going to the landfills. Educating our employees so they can pass it along to their families at home. We like to develop our employees to be better stewards. And if they can take something from when they come to work and bring it home, then we win, win-win. Happy employee means happy guest. So the low carbon diet is essentially teaching them, do they need to eat meat 5 times a week? Do they need to leave a light on in their house while they go home? Do they need to warm up their car for half an hour? No, they don't. And this is the impact that they can have upon our environment. Our farm restaurant, which we're sitting right now, which is fabulous by the way, their claim to fame is purchasing local, which we as a company really try to do is we try to employ local and we try to buy local. We buy all our beef from Summit County Beef, which is a nonprofit program that was started last year. Actually, Chef Mirka was one of the first investors into Summit County Beef. We purchase all of our vegetables locally. We purchase everything here locally. So we're really proud of that program. And what we're doing is we're actually expanding that onto the on-mountain restaurants with hamburger patties, the vegetables that are in Cloud Dine. So we're proud of that program. If we can sustain the local farmers and the local economy, then that's what we're here for. We have this resort, this beautiful resort for our guests and our employees, but we also have it for our community. And if we can help the farmer that may not be coming skiing keep his farm, then that's our way of contributing to them.
The farm, situated at the base of the lifts, is a rustic yet refined restaurant. It features a cozy lounge for après-ski dining and socializing, including an extensive wine selection. Named the best new restaurant in Utah by Salt Lake Magazine, the farm boasts an innovative menu that focuses on locally sourced ingredients from farms and artisans within 200 miles of Park City. Using these ingredients, the chefs whipped up a homemade soup that was fresh and delicious. Michael dug into one of their farm-to-table fresh salads, which clearly hit the spot. Next, it was time for us to hit the slopes. The Canyons prides itself on making skiing accessible to riders of all levels, with one-on-one lessons from some of the world's top instructors. My friend Suk had never been snowboarding before, so the small class was just what she needed to learn the basics.
Leaning back, we're staying even over a board, just like sitting down. When we go over to our toe edge, we'll be peeing like a boy.
After getting some pointers from the ski pro, she started to really get the hang of it.
Okay, I just gotta balance. Toes up. Toes up.
That way when you lift up, that toe goes into the snow, slows you down and stops you.
Oh, wait. Oh,
Nice.
okay, better?
Better, yeah.
Then it was my turn. But first, a private lesson with one of the canyon's expert instructors.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Well, the easy part was taking the lift up the mountain. But getting off the lift can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. Thank goodness I had a little help from a real pro. And once I finally got on the hill, I started to gain some momentum. And even with the best instructors, just like riding a bike, you gotta fall down to pick it up.
Thank you.
After a day on the slopes, there's nothing like heading down to the base of the mountain for a little après-ski chill time at Canyon Ski Beach. It's a perfect venue for partying or people watching. But for me, it was an ideal location for a much-needed cat nap in the sunshine after a hard day's work. Well, that's all for this week.
This is good stuff. I'm going to keep coming back.
You know, it works if you work it.
And you're worth it. So work it. See you next time on Conscious Living.
Fresh powder. We're gonna have fresh powder in Park City.
Is that weird?
Was that weird?
Bye.
You guys want to do it again? Yeah.
That's it. Bye. Okay.
Hello. How about this? What if I do this? Is that hot?
Oh.
Let's take a selfie. Where's my selfie stick? Debunk.